Hi everyone, welcome back. I have 3 kids, as I've mentioned before, and when they were very little, both my husband and I would go out together and do the trick-or-treating with them and make the rounds. But as they got older, I started feeling a little guilty. We had bought all this candy and there was no one at home to give it out. I mean, that's half the fun. So then we established a rule. One adult would go out with the children and escort them around, and the other adult would stay at home to man the door and, give out to all the trick-or-treaters there. So that was our routine. And this one year, it was my time to go out. I was going out with only my youngest and one of his friends at the time, maybe 2 friends. So, as was my personal tradition, I would always wear some sort of costume. Whether I was manning the door or not, I would always wear a costume. Whether it's just a costume, maybe just a mask, something. Because I felt it wasn't right if I didn't I had to celebrate in some way. If I wasn't trick-or-treating, I had to celebrate. This year, I normally had this old Scream mask. Well, it was a knockoff Scream mask that I'd found for like $1 in the dollar store, off season, and I'd bought it, and that was my typical thing. I would have it on my head, and then as the trick-or-treaters came to the door, pull it down. They'd say the thing, trick-or-treat, and it'd make me happy. So I still had it after a number of years, and I had picked up I picked up in off-season again this generic Grim Reaper robe thing. Pretty generic, could use it for a lot of different things, costume-wise. So I was wearing that, and I had the Scream mask. I didn't have it on because it was this thick plastic, and it made you sweat down here, and it was really, I was trying to keep the zits from popping out on my chin, so I normally kept it on the top of my head. But I figured I was going around with the kids, so I actually just put it on the back of my head. So from the back it would look, I don't know, weird. But so I took the kids out, and I had my littlest one and like 2 or 3 of his buddies. And we'd been going for about a half an hour or so. And I would stay at the edge of the property or on the sidewalk, and they would go up, do the trick-or-treat, say their thank yous, and they'd come back. This one time though, they were up there a little longer, talking to the adult at the door. I think it was a woman. And they came back, and one of his friends goes, "Here," and hands me a chocolate bar. And I was like, "Why are you giving me your candy?" "Oh no, the lady at the door said to give it to you." "Oh, that was nice of her." "Yeah, she said, since you're trick-or-treating anyway, here, have a candy." I said, "But I'm not trick-or-treating." And they said, "Well, you're in the costume and everything. Take it." Oh, I didn't have a bag, so I put it in my son's bag, and we continued walking. We got around the corner, and one of his friends turns to me and says, "You're almost about our size. You're just a little taller than us. If you put the mask on, no one would know that you weren't a kid." I felt my heart flutter. I got so excited. I was like, "Oh, no, well, yeah, but that would be right. I'm not a kid. I'm an adult." Meanwhile, inside, I'm screaming, going, "Yes! Oh, I would love to do that! Oh my God, that would be so cool! I would be reliving my past days in glory," the whole thing. But he's like, "No, yeah, why not? Why don't you do that?" And I looked at the other boy, and he's like, "Yeah, why not? It'd be fun. You're cool, good, do it." And I looked at my son, and I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he's like, "You dressed up anyway, why not? You always want to anyway. You're as bad as one of us kids when it comes to trick-or-treating." "Okay, I'll do it." So straightened out my little outfit, put the mask on, didn't care if I got sweaty. It went up between houses. One of his friends had an extra bag. I took the bag, and the years rolled away, and I was 8 and 9 years old again, running up and down from the sidewalk up to the door. Trick or treat! Thank you! Trick or treat! Thank you! I had so much fun. And even as the night wore on and his friends, as we dropped off one friend at his house because he had to be home at a certain time, and we dropped off the next friend, and then it was just me and my son. We even had somebody come along. I don't even know who this kid was. My son kind of sort of knew him. He came along the way and he's like, "Oh, who's this trick-or-treating with you?" I said, "It's my mom." "No way!" And I was like, "Hi." And they were like, "Oh, that's so cool." And we ended up, like, as the night went on, just a little, this one kid would come by and then another kid would come by, and it was just, and it just, they thought it was cool that I was still trick-or-treating with my kids. And we finished the night out and got home, and my husband was like, "So, you know, how did the night go?" And before I could say anything, my son says, "It was good. Mom trick-or-treated with us." And my husband turns and looks at me and is like, "Did you now?" "Well, yeah, they invited me. It wasn't my idea." "Oh, really?" No, it wasn't my idea at all. Tell him, tell him it was, you know, so-and-so's idea." And he's like, "Yeah, it was his idea. My friends all said okay, and they said, why don't you do it?" My husband was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Not that it matters. I mean, why not? Just because you're an adult." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, it's fine." It kind of changed my whole view about the idea that you only have to be a kid to enjoy the holiday. My thing after that was, as long as you have a costume, as long as you're willing to wear a mask, as long as you're willing to say the traditional words, trick or treat, I'm always willing to give you candy. And please say thank you. I want to thank you for dropping in for this second episode of Halloweens of the Past. Look forward to you in the future. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.